effort. Today, I want to highlight the efforts of UC San Diego Health, their multi-pronged approach with clinical drug trials, antibody screening, and using 3D printers for parts of life-saving ventilators. And also with me are two firms that are working to develop a vaccine that could ultimately be the light at the end of the tunnel for this pandemic. Arcturus Therapeutics is a San Diego-based company, is working to develop a single-shot vaccine that will begin clinical trials soon. And Inovio Pharmaceuticals has people in their San Diego lab who at this very moment are working on a DNA-based vaccine that can begin clinical trials as soon as next month. So shortly, I want to turn it over to each of these unique individuals to have them talk about the incredible work that their respective teams are doing in the fight against COVID-19. And as I said before, we are so fortunate to have this collection of men and women, scientists, brain power, who are literally working 24/7 right here in San Diego. And I want to really recognize all of their efforts, and again, everyone in our biotechnology industry. And I spoke with leaders from Biocom earlier this week. We have seen this industry step up like never before to address this global pandemic that we're facing. And so as we continue to work together, as I said, I will continue to share some of the work that's being done because I think it's important for San Diegans to know not only what we're doing here, but how this impacts the nation and the world. Before I turn it over to them, a couple of other updates. On our Small Business Relief Fund update, I'd like to remind San Diegans that small business relief is on the way. Our Small Business Relief Fund applications open today starting at 5 o'clock, just a few minutes from now. In total, we have allocated $6 million in financial relief for small businesses that are facing financial hardship. And any business with 100 employees or less is eligible as long as they can prove economic hardship related to COVID-19 and have a city business license and have been in operations for at least 6 months. For more information, for those of you that are watching, you can go to sandiego.gov/coronavirus. As I said, those applications will be starting at 5 o'clock. I want to also take this opportunity to thank our federal partners for passing the largest stimulus package in our country's history. This will be a big step forward as we work to fight the spread of COVID-19 that has really, unfortunately, devastated our small business community. We need to continue to be proactive in fighting this global pandemic, and we will do it together regardless of party, whether that is here locally, the statewide, or on the national level. It's important that everybody continue to work together to get through on the other side. This is the tone that we will continue to set here in San Diego when it comes to working together. And I hope to continue to set that tone and that example for others to take note. Lastly, I'd like to provide an update on our public safety professionals. This morning I was informed that our first San Diego police officer in our Western Division has tested positive for COVID-19. We're making, of course, this officer, as long as all of our other public safety personnel, has everything that they need to stay healthy and to get through this. Had an opportunity to speak with the officer, and he remains in very good spirits. I know that our fire chief, our lifeguard chief, our fire rescue chief continue to work day in and day out to keep all of our public safety personnel safe. Adding to this police officer that tested positive are 3 lifeguards that have tested positive. This brings our total case of public safety professionals that have tested positive for COVID-19 to 6. We will still have some tests outstanding, and I'll continue to provide these updates as we receive these regular results. I know this is a particular difficult time for everyone in our community. And these are particularly difficult times for our public safety professionals as well, because they're out there working day and night, fulfilling their oaths and the obligations that they took when they accepted their positions. And I will tell you what, they are doing a phenomenal job, particularly this last several weeks. They are prepared. They are following all the guidelines, our CDC guidelines, to how to limit the spread among public safety personnel. But we still need the public's help. We need your cooperation. They stay at work for you, so please stay home for them. With the weekend here, this is a good time as ever to remind all San Diegans that the parks, beaches, bays, and trails are closed. This was done to limit the spread of the virus to our public safety professionals as well as members of the public and our families. We know that you're safer at home. Thank you for doing everything you're doing. San Diego has stepped up in a remarkable fashion. The more we put into these practices, the social distancing, the physical distance, the sooner we are going to get on the other side of this. So thank you for all of your help and support. And we know now that it's more than ever important. We just got our update from our county that in the last 24 hours we doubled the amount of COVID-19 deaths, related deaths, from 3 to 6. And in that report was unfortunately a 25-year-old that had no underlying health conditions. It's incredibly important that we continue to step up during this time of need, work with our neighbors, work with our friends to reinforce this important message of keeping your distance. This is how we are going to get on the other side of this. So I continue to want to thank all San Diegans. Thank you for everything you've done over these last couple of weeks. Thank you for everything you're going to be doing over the weekend to help out. And now I'd like to take, as I said, a little bit just to hear from some phenomenal people that are doing literally world-class work that we're very, very proud of right here in our city. First, I'd like to turn it over to Kate Broderick with Inovio Pharmaceuticals. We're going to speak about their efforts on what they're doing to help on this virus. Dr. Kate, thank you.
Thank you so much, Mayor Faulconer. I'm really honoured to be here with you today, and I'm also very honoured to share the podium with the gentleman behind me. All of us, I think I can speak on behalf of everybody working in the scientific field at the moment, that we are doing everything in our power to work as hard and as fast as possible to come up for solutions in each of our different respective areas. And if I can make one brief statement about if there's a single positive thing to come out of the situation that we're in today, it's the solidarity that I've witnessed personally in the scientific field of people coming together, sharing information, sharing knowledge, sharing reagents, sharing tools, because together, if we work together, we'll get towards a solution faster. So my name's Kate Broderick. I'm the Senior Vice President of Research and Development at Inovio Pharmaceuticals. We're a San Diego-based biotechnology leading the development of DNA medicines. Specifically related to COVID-19, on the 10th of January, we received the genetic sequence of the virus from the Chinese authorities. Immediately, we started working on a vaccine because we knew that the situation could get critical, although I don't think any of us thought it was going to be as bad as it is today. And within 3 hours, we had a design of a vaccine which we immediately started manufacturing and testing in the laboratory. We've now completed those tests and we're very happy with the results that we've seen thus far, and we hope to start our human clinical testing in approximately 2 weeks, so in April. And I just would like to underscore the unprecedented nature of the speed of that development. If I can just reiterate again, we didn't even know about this virus until January, and we're now going to be putting this vaccine into clinical testing in April. Certainly in my own personal career, but I really think generally, scientifically across the board, that speed of development that ourselves and many others are showing is really quite remarkable. We've set ourselves an internal goal at Inovio to have 1 million doses of the vaccine ready by the end of the year, which sounds like a lot, and it's a great first step. But we have to recognise that in San Diego alone, that's not enough to vaccinate the whole population. As we start talking about whole populations countrywide or globally wide, obviously we're going to have to step up that production. And please let it be known that we're working day and night to come up with a solution for that problem. We're working with large-scale manufacturers, and we're doing everything in our power to get enough vaccines ready so that we can give it to the people who need it the most. Again, I really thank you for the time to speak today, and I'll be happy to answer any questions at the end of the press conference.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Next, I'd like to turn it over to Robert Schooley with UCSD Health, who's going to talk about some of the remarkable efforts that is happening with UCSD. Yep.
Thanks very much, Mayor Faulconer. It's a pleasure to be with you here today. UC San Diego is a very proud member of this community, and we are continuing to operate under social distancing and are hoping to help San Diego through this epidemic in several ways. The hospital has been preparing for this epidemic for the last 6 weeks, and we're very pleased to be taking care of a large number of San Diegans within both of our campuses and plan to continue to do that. Our professors are teaching remotely. Our students are primarily dispersed and at home. And our research effort, particularly on SARS-CoV-2, is very active. We've already initiated clinical trials of remdesivir, the Gilead Sciences drug that we hope has antiviral activity and will have a benefit for the patients who are receiving it. This trial was started earlier this week. We plan to start another trial next week with tocilizumab, a drug that we hope will decrease some of the inflammatory effects later in the disease. We're also working with several biotech companies here in San Diego, including the two that are here today with us, on vaccine development, vaccine trials, and we're also very optimistic that over the longer term, vaccines will have a big impact on the epidemic. As Mayor Faulconer said earlier, our engineers are working with people in the anesthesia department on developing rapid approaches to using both 3D printed parts and other spare parts to make respirators to help make up for any shortage that we might have. We're also busily working on understanding how the virus spreads in the community with our epidemiologists and people working on the microbiome initiative. We're very proud to be part of the San Diego community, and we plan to provide care for people who need it and hope that we can provide research solutions for San Diego and the rest of the world. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Chip. And lastly, I'd like to introduce Joseph Payne of Arcturus Therapeutics. Again, another example of companies right here in San Diego that are at the forefront of this. Joseph?
So, firstly, I just want to thank our mayor. He is a champion of biotech here. We've had the great opportunity to have him visit our company on occasion, and every time he just invokes a spirit of optimism into the community and to our company. So we're thankful for the opportunity for us to share a little bit more about Arcturus with you and the journalists, and for the interpreters helping share the story as well. Arcturus, my name is Joe Payne, but you can forget my name. I think it's more important that you remember our company. Our company is called Arcturus Therapeutics. If you are familiar with that name, Arcturus, it's because it's a star in the sky. In fact, it's the first star you see. So when you wish upon a star, that's Arcturus. We are an RNA medicines company here in San Diego. We're uniquely positioned to provide a COVID-19 vaccine to help in this effort with the folks behind me. Earlier this year, Singapore reached out to our company. They were at the forefront of this disease when it initially broke out. And the reason they selected us to help vaccinate their country is because our vaccine works at an extraordinarily low dose. Our technology, once it's injected, it makes a lot of the S antigen that we need to protect ourselves, to build up our immune systems and protect ourselves from this virus. It also has the potential to be a single-shot vaccine, which means it's logistically more simple to distribute a single-shot vaccine versus a shot plus booster vaccine. You couple this with the fact that it's readily or easily manufactured, and it works at such an extraordinarily low dose that we have the opportunity to potentially vaccinate a large group or a large population of people. To illustrate this, I think it's important to understand, if everyone looks at their thumb, I like to use this example, but if you look at your thumb, your thumb weighs 10 grams. 10 grams of our technology has the potential ability to vaccinate the entire country of Singapore. So where are we now? Well, we're in the throes of manufacturing this vaccine, and we are planning and preparing for a clinical trial soon. We're also in the process of, we're hoping to be able to procure funding from the U.S. government so that we can initiate stockpiling the vaccine here in the United States. But like others have mentioned before me, and I'm repeating right now, this is not going to be a single company effort. This is a colossal undertaking. The demand for this vaccine has never, the world has never seen anything like it. There's never been 2 billion people that want a product, not even the iPhone, all right? So this is an extraordinary effort that takes not only Arcturus's time, but the others behind me and several biotech companies here in San Diego. Rest assured, we're working diligently around the clock in this effort, and we look forward to providing an update later. Thanks for your time, and I'll turn the time back over to the Mayor.
Thank you, Joseph. And again, what I wanted to do is just an opportunity, just a small snapshot of some of the incredible research work, development that is happening right here that I think all San Diegans should be very proud of, and to give you a sense of some great companies, great research that I will continue to highlight in the coming days and weeks, because I am convinced that it's going to be our region that will continue to lead this effort both nationally and globally. And lastly, as I think many of you noticed, I've started to end these daily briefings with some stories about San Diegans that are stepping up to help one another. Because during these times, it's just as important that we hear the good stories that really help keep our faith in one another alive. And there are so many of these phenomenal stories that are happening every single day. We have seen an overwhelming compliance with the stay-at-home order and folks that are practicing social distancing, knowing well the full weight of what this carries on, particularly our hospitality industry and our restaurants that have been some of the hardest hit. So today I'd like to highlight just a couple of our local eateries that are hurting, but they're still stepping up to help San Diegans. In Mission Valley, the folks at Breakfast Republic are rallying together to prepare and package comfort food dinners. They're known, of course, for breakfast, but are offering up meals like chicken and lasagna to their fellow hospitality workers who have been laid off during these very turbulent times. And if you can spare $10 for one of these meals, you're also going to buy extra, and it's going to help pay it forward. Another restaurant that's stepping up is Dirty Birds in Pacific Beach, and their approach has been called winging it. A portion of every wing ordered, for takeout, of course, goes towards donating meal for our first responders. They've donated more than 1,000 wings so far to all of our folks that are on the front lines, our police and fire departments, emergency rooms, and health clinics. So others are switching up their operations to help meet the needs of their local neighborhood. In Barrio Logan, South Bay Fishery is where you would normally go to get, of course, the catch of the day. But now their shelves are stocked with necessities like fresh produce, cleaning supplies, and paper goods. All of these businesses are stepping up to help meet the needs of their communities. So if you see a San Diegan stepping up and offering to help somebody, help with that helping hand, share it at hashtag San Diego Steps Up. Now more than ever, our city is coming together to help one another. So many people are stepping up, representing the best of our city, the best of who we are as San Diegans. Reminder to stay safe, keep that distance for the weekend up ahead. The more we do that, the more we're going to get on the other side of this as quickly as possible. With that, I will pause and happy to answer any questions from members of the media.
Hey there, Kasha with Fox. So when these vaccinations or vaccines start to come to fruition, it sounds like there are so many different efforts being led at the same time. How will that eventually get distributed to the public? Will there be a variety of options for people? Could you help better describe that?
Yeah, Kasha, I think one of the reasons I wanted to highlight the great work is because this has been a team effort. As you heard, this is no one company. There are several different roads that are being pursued and being pursued simultaneously. That's exactly what we need, not only for this city of ours, but the nation and the world. And so as all of these folks are working in concert together with our research institutions, one goal: how do we develop vaccine therapeutics that will work? how are they going to be safe, and then how can we get that as quickly to market, working with FDA and others. And so obviously there's a lot of work to be done, but I wanted to give people a sense of the work that is being done right now and how San Diego continues to lead from the front.
We've obviously just never, ever dealt with something like this. You know, we keep using the word unprecedented, so would it be possible to maybe hear from a little more from the companies, the representatives, just talking about when those vaccines start to get dispersed into the public, what that looks like? I know it's just kind of speculation at this point, but I'm sure a lot of people are just very curious what that'll eventually look like when these get developed.
Yeah, nobody's working faster than companies here in San Diego, but Chip or Kate or
The other companies.
go ahead.
Yeah, thanks so much for the question, and it's a question that everybody's asking, right? Is when are these actually going to be available? And I would love to be able to tell you tomorrow or next week, but you just have to understand that these processes take a while, and they take a while for a good reason, right? Because we want to provide you guys with the vaccines that work but are also safe. And so I think realistically 6 to 12 months to get a first batch of vaccines ready. But really it's going to be another 6 to 12 months before those would be ready for widespread distribution.
And would that be a variety of types of vaccines? Because it sounds like yours is different.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And in the situation we're in today, that you do not want to put all your eggs in one basket. And so I think the strategy of trying lots of approaches is the best strategy we've got at the moment.
I'll be brief. There's multiple companies that are initiating clinical trials in multiple different countries. That involves multiple different regulatory agencies. Arcturus's clinical trial will be in Singapore under the regulatory agency of the HSA, not the FDA. And so here you have multiple companies evaluating multiple different technologies and vaccines in multiple countries under different regulatory agencies. So the question is which regulatory agency is going to approve which technology first and why? And that's the last remaining unknown. And then after the first technology is approved, the first vaccine is approved, then the question will be, will the other countries fall in line, or will they accept or honor these approvals or not? That still remains to be determined. Is that helpful?
Absolutely, yeah. Thank you guys so much.
No, thank you for that question. Yeah, no, great question. Thank you. Any other media questions on today's briefing? If not, I want to thank all of my colleagues here today for the phenomenal work, the quick work that they are doing. Reminder to San Diegans, be safe, take care of each other this weekend, practice social distancing, and we are going to get through this together. Thank you.